Welcome to One ABQ You. Conversations, culture, and community. A City of Albuquerque production with your hosts, Mayor Tim Keller and me, Leah Black. Welcome to episode 2.
We're back.
We did it. We're here.
Yeah, we made it to the second episode.
We'll see how long this goes. I'm having fun. How are you?
I'm good, it's fall in Albuquerque. It finally got cold. That's awesome. And so many great things going on around the city.
There's a lot of good stuff. I love walking my dog at this time of year because she's a mini Bernedoodle. She's a Bernese Mountain Dog mix.
Whoa.
And she loves the cold.
I always wanted a Burmese Mountain Dog. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
I know what that is. Looked it up once.
She's amazing, but the hot weather is too much for her. So now it's finally cold, so she's like really into it. But we
So
went
give us a visual, because like these two together, like
It's wild.
how does it come out? Sort of.
This is wild. Her mom is the 110-pound dog, and her dad is the mini poodle. So however you want to think about that.
So
and we got her from an Amish farm.
hair?
Curly hair. She's black.
Size?
She's black, and she has like tricolored paws. Really fluffy. She's like a flopsy
Wow.
Muppet when she runs. She's so cute. Yeah, you'll have to. I'll
I'd
show
like to
pictures.
hang out with her.
Yeah, she's really cute. Her name's Josephine Chicken Wing, but we call her Josie for short.
Nice.
Anyway, I took her walking this weekend because she was so excited because it was so hot for a while. We couldn't even walk. Her pads would get burnt, and she just hates the heat. And we went to the newly renovated dog park, and it's so cool. What's it called?
Rio Grande Triangle is one of many.
That's the one.
But
though.
yeah, what'd you think?
It's awesome. It's beautiful. And it was like, there was people out. It was like, it felt really fun because it was like fall time with the trees. And anyways.
They did a great job.
Yeah, it looks
remodeling
great.
that. So it's like, I'll tell you a story about this remodel. So it's near where I live, and so I'm there. I'm the guy who goes there at midnight, and everyone's all creeped out by everyone else who's there at midnight. But like we're all there typically because we were busy until
all
then
day.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like that park is. I've had some of the best conversations and like community discussions like way late night.
I love this
at Rio Grande Triangle Dog Park, and but when it started. Like when there was, so it existed before and then it was renovated. And I went out one day and it was like not officially open yet, but it was like the day before the opening. So I'm there and of course there's all these people who are like, is it open yet? And everyone's kind of like looking around and everyone just like goes in anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Right.
And
they're dogs.
Yeah. Especially like, and not, sometimes people recognize me and sometimes people don't there.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. If you went in, then I'm going to go in. So like we were all like in it together.
You're looking at each other.
Yeah. But then we look at the signs, these parking signs, and it had to be deliberate because somebody had turned them the other way. So like if you drive there, I don't because I walk there.
Yeah.
But if you drive there, there's like signs on one side of it you can park and one side you can't.
Okay.
But the side that you can't park on, someone had turned they unscrewed the signs and they put them on facing the dogs, not the cars.
What?
Yeah. And I remember noticing this and being like, wait, like, is something wrong here? And I remember actually Matt, who we're going to have on later, I think he was the guy I called and I was like, I just want to check, but like, are these no parking signs supposed to face the dogs or the parking lot? And it was a little kind of urban prank.
How funny.
Relatively harmless.
Right.
Yeah, actually, and it was creative, well done.
Yeah.
Nothing was destroyed. But yeah.
Somebody got their kick.
For a hot minute there, like you could park, but the dogs couldn't.
No parking for the dogs. We have so many rad dog parks in this city. And I've been to other cities. They're trying to do things, in other places. But I feel like for the size of our population, we have a lot of really good dog parks.
So, we do. We're like 11th in the country on this. So, there's all sorts of, you're always ranked for everything.
Right.
And there's like a couple of park rankings that one is like, can you walk, I think it's within like 5 minutes of your house or 10 minutes of your house, can you walk to a park? And I think we're top 5 in the country on that.
Yeah.
Definitely top 10. So in general, we have really good access to parks. And then on dog parks, we're, I think, 14th. So, or 11th, I forget.
Yeah.
Whether it's 11 or 14, because
Still.
we're doubling the number of dog parks because they're so popular.
That's amazing.
So I just saw, similarly, like if you're in that part of town, we should talk about other parts of the city, but there's now a new dog park at Benny Hargrove Park, which used to be Washington Park. But the amazing one, look, there's one on the west side that is off the hook. It's like by far the coolest dog park. And the name will come to me. It's Santa Fe Village, I think it's called, in that neighborhood. And then you've got Domingo Baca's amazing.
Oh, I've been to that one.
But the hidden gem for all the dog owners, etc. out there, pet lovers. It's this one, and I always forget the name of it. I want to say Tom Bolak. That's not it, though. Anyway, it's along the freeway, like kind of between Carlisle and Louisiana. Like literally along the freeway. And it's like linear. But it's like your dog can run like as far as you can see them.
Okay.
Yeah. And
obviously
I should remember the name of this dog park, but like everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Matt will know.
Look it up.
Matt will tell us because I got to take Josie there.
Yes.
She will run and run and run and run for days.
Yeah, and it's total hidden gem. You're going to be like, there's not even a dog park here.
Okay.
You have to like go in an alley between houses to get to it.
What?
Yeah,
I am so intrigued. Let's get Matt on so he can tell us where this is.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm so excited about this because I have worked with this person in a previous sort of role with the city, and now we get to work together in this realm. Matthew Whelan is the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Albuquerque, and he's joining us. You're our first guest.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's truly an honor and a privilege to just be here, especially with the mayor, and to work with you again, Leah, as we've done certain things in the past, Talking Trash Tuesday, but that's things we did previously.
That's right.
I mean, we should talk about your past a little bit. So like these two created Talking Trash Tuesday or Thursday? Tuesday. And like all I can say is, so this is take us back to the middle of the pandemic. And what I'm getting to a question here, but for our listeners, like middle of the pandemic, everyone's panicking, but also everyone's bored and all these things are happening. And at the city, we decide we have to stay open. It was a little different than everyone else. But we were also trying to remind people, like, because we were home so much, there was so much trash in your trash can. So like, you know, basically all the trash that we would normally pick up at work, we're now picking up at your house.
Yeah.
So everyone's cans are, overflowing and like this
Amazon
whole thing.
boxes.
Yeah. Oh God, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
It was, and it was a great suggestion that the mayor made. Actually, he's the one who told me to get a hold of you to see if there was something we could do during the pandemic to get our messaging out, because we couldn't go on TV, we couldn't be out in the public.
It's an educational moment.
It was an educational moment, and we brought you on, and we ended up coming up with Talking Trash Tuesdays, and it was great for that period of time. And now we have all these videos that people can go and watch on YouTube.
Yep, go watch my.
But
YouTube.
I will tell you, they are so. We track like social media, and I think they're still the most watched thing we've ever done.
Oh, that's amazing!
Literally.
And I do have to plug that the mayor was in 2 episodes as well. And I honestly, being on the creative side of it, I had so much fun just thinking about writing those scripts, because you played Luke Skywalker in one of them, a version of,
great.
And also Garth from Wayne and Garth, and this was probably one of my favorite things I've
they
ever
were just
done.
shining moments. It's
were
like that
amazing.
song, One Shining Moment. But if I think of my job as mayor, that's going to show up somewhere.
I love this. This is, I mean, really, I'm done. This is like my creative wish has come true. It's great.
Yeah. So one other thing on this, because I think what's so amazing about like that whole setup is that like I feel like it was a lot like anything that is comedic, it like also runs its course.
Yes.
And like it eventually eroded into just, we might as well have been like little kids. Like we're just playing with swords and pizza boxes and, I mean, it was like, well, are we even talking about trash?
I know.
Or is that
Are we
anything to
just
do with the
having-
city? It was
yeah.
just fun time with Matt.
Yep.
I will say,
and then it like ended.
trash isn't always the sexiest thing to talk about. Not a lot of people want to talk about, solid waste things. It's just the reality. But we all create trash. So we were like, how do we make it fun and, a cooler thing to talk about? So we did for a short time.
It was
And
mission
it was great.
accomplished.
Yeah, it was a great thing, and it was a great suggestion by the mayor to bring you aboard. So
It was really
we
fun.
really appreciate working with you.
Thank you.
Nice work.
We'll think of something again in the future and in another way.
So what we should do is, so Matt, you're our first guest, and so we want to highlight essentially in general, like, some people's stories like at the city.
Yeah.
Sometimes they may work at the city, sometimes they may not. For you, so tell us a little bit about like your background, because then I'm gonna do like the resume part, so you don't have to do it, and then we want to hear like how this really played out. So Matt's been with the city a long time. He'll fill in the blanks, but accounting department, parks department, solid waste. Now he's big fancy office on the 11th floor. And so, but like, tell us about this journey. Why'd you even come to Albuquerque, and where did it all start?
Honestly, I'm going to plug my university, New Mexico State University, but
Dropping the egg just straight up.
So
in
I'll
your
just say
face
that
to all
right
the
up.
Lobo fans.
But no. I started out. I graduated, and at the time, I was just looking for a place to work, and I had 3 job offers. One was in Dallas, one was in Tucson, and one was here in Albuquerque. And so I came to Albuquerque at the time, and I did 3 tours on all those places on, when they recruit you. And I just really thought Albuquerque was a great place to be. And I will say this, the only reason why I left Las Cruces was because I used to work for the accounting department, and they said, well, you need to go get experience. And so they said, you need at least 2 to 3 years experience before we can hire you back at NMSU to work here. And at the time I was coaching high school basketball. I had been coaching high school basketball for 7 years, the whole time I had been throughout college. And so I was doing all that, and they were like, well, just go. And then they were like, yeah, go to Albuquerque and work for this company and get your experience, and then we can hire you back. Well, I came, and I've never left.
You never went back.
And so from that perspective, it was one of those things where I used to go back home all the time. And even when I was auditing, I used to audit the city of Las Cruces. And I remember the first 2 or 3 years I would audit the city of Las Cruces. Every time I would drive down there, I would feel like I was going home. And then about the 4th year, it didn't feel like, it felt the other way.
Visiting.
Like I was coming home
To Albuquerque.
back to Albuquerque. And so that's when I really took oh, you know what, this is real, because I've been here over 3 years. I met my wife here. She's a graduate of Albuquerque High. She went to UNM, so I know I dropped you NMSU.
That rivalry is real.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it was one of those things where I just really started liking Albuquerque and loving Albuquerque and the people of Albuquerque, and the culture was different from what I was raised in, down south. And so I did that, and then I was in public accounting for a long time, and kind of got burnt out. I was traveling about 115 nights a year.
Wow.
And I'd been married a little bit over a year, and one day
Yeah, and she's like, this isn't okay.
She didn't say it. To my credit, I came home, and this is probably the only thing I can take credit for, is I came home one day and said, if I keep this up, I'm probably not going to be married for very long.
Aww.
And so I had 2 options. I knew people from the city of Albuquerque because I had been in the accounting industry for a long time, but I knew people at UNM. And so I applied here at the city, and literally I went home one day and I told my wife, I'm going to take this job at the city, and it's going to be a pay cut, and told my partners that, and they were like, you do realize you're taking a job that anybody 2 years out of college can take.
Oh, no.
And I had almost 10 years in the industry. And I was like, yeah, but I'm just doing it. And I did it, and I knew I was going to be here for 3 years. So I spent 3 years in the accounting department, and I had opportunity for many promotions, but I didn't take them. I just did those 3 years. And then all of a sudden, I became the deputy director of Parks and Rec. And then within a year, well, I was a fiscal manager, sorry, first. And then within a year, they made me the deputy director. And then the new administration came in, and they just gave me this great opportunity to be the director of solid waste. So really, it just was like an organic thing that happened. Like, I almost came here because I thought I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah, right.
Until I came to the city, and then I realized what I really wanted to be when I grew up. And I think that's one of the best opportunities for anybody, because I know that we deal with recruiting issues, and I know we're trying to hire people, is there are so many opportunities within the city to start in one area and to grow into other areas, and that you can just expand your career. And I never thought I would be here this long.
Right.
I really didn't. But after so much time and so many opportunities, and thank this administration, Mayor Keller, for what he's promoted me to now, it's like I never ever thought I would be where I am. But that being said, there are so many stories within the city of Albuquerque where I know people who started as laborers, fiscal staff.
I've met a lot of the guys at Solid
administration,
Waste.
Yeah, but even other departments, even our administrative staff. I mean, if you just come here and take that opportunity and don't think about like, well, is it about the money, because we have one of the best retirement programs, but it is one of those things where you have so much opportunity to move up, move on, and to learn.
Right.
But also the biggest thing is, you have a heart for the city. And when I was driving back all those times, and all of a sudden I noticed that switch from where it felt like I was going home
To now,
to
when
where
it
I was
turned
like,
around.
I was just going to visit, and I started coming back this way, and it was like,
Yeah,
no,
so
no.
we got to go back to this though a little bit here.
Yeah.
So take us back. So first off, I always find it's funny, people from Las Cruces, like, they commute to Albuquerque. Like when I go down to Las Cruces, I'm like, this is really far.
Right.
And but like, so was it like this thing where you felt like you were essentially commuting? And then also, are you stopping in San Antonio for, Owl Cafe or Buckhorn? Where do you go there?
So I'll just say this: the worst drive in this state is Albuquerque to Las Cruces. It's one of the worst drives I've
Just a
driven
little rough.
all over the
It's a little
state.
rough. Right,
and it's
right around
bad.
Elephant Butte, it gets
Oh.
really dull.
Yeah.
And so it was really like it was a trek. It was like a trek to go down there. But coming back, it just started feeling like home. Like I couldn't wait to leave Las Cruces. And so that was the switch that took place. But yeah, there's some great places. There's TRC, there's Socorro, there's all those places. There's the Al Cafe.
So what do you pick? This is like Lobos or Aggies.
The rivalry is on still.
So I will say this, Mayor. Being born and raised in Las Cruces, we always root for the Lobos. Or we used to. Or we do. Our biggest rival is UTEP because it's 30 minutes
right.
down
Yeah,
the
yeah.
street. Like you literally can get on.
Yeah,
for the
you have
pet-
another fish you're worried about,
Yes.
not the
Right.
Lobos.
And
You're
so
worried
we were
about the
always
miners.
we were always like if we weren't in it, which we're little brother. We've been bad for a long time.
You're
So-
better now this year.
Yeah, it's 1 year. But we always rooted for the Lobos. And so when I moved here, I was like, what's all this hate coming from?
Interesting.
why is it
That's
so
good. That's good for Lobos
heated?
to know. It's
Yeah, I
like,
was
what?
like,
Like Cruces
why
is
do
much
you-
more concerned about UTEP.
Yeah, I was like, how do you guys hate me so much? I'm
Although
like,
I will say that that advertising campaign that came out recently from NMSU, as you're going south on I-25, I don't know if you've seen it, but I was like, dang, that's kind of dirty. They're like, you look better in crimson. Like calling out against the cherry red. I'm like, that is a bold advertising
They
campaign.
should just do the same in reverse. You
Yeah.
look better in cherry.
Right?
So, but Matt's still dodging the question. I mean, you're like a politician.
Oh,
I love it
right.
when I can say that.
Yes, yes.
Come
yes.
on,
I
man.
see where-
Buckhorn or Owl? Just lay it out. What do we
actually-
got?
Just lay it out.
lay it out. I'm an Aggie in my heart, but my wife and my daughter, they say everyone's a Lobo. So it's
Yeah, but what's the
So
burger?
we're talking about restaurants in San Antonio.
Oh,
You
no,
got
no,
the
restaurants.
Buckhorn.
Yeah, the Al Cafe to me is the one.
Oh,
the
whoa.
Al Cafe.
Okay, this is a huge controversy. We're gonna have to pick this up in another episode.
And I can't answer
You're
'cause I
going
haven't been to
Owl.
both.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Ooh, well, come on.
I
You're
know,
killing me.
I
You're
just-
killing me.
I
know.
had
I
to
guess
go
I
there.
deserved it after I called you like a waffling politician. Oh, man. Well, I'll say this. If I'm going just burger to burger, head to head, I'm going to go Buckhorn.
Okay.
But when I want a more diverse menu, especially with my kids,
Yeah.
I go Owl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will make this caveat. My wife's a vegetarian, which sometimes makes me a vegetarian. so that's why we go Al Cafe because there's more
Diverse.
There you go. There's
That's-
more on the
that's-
menu.
there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
So
So
that-
we've
there's
agreed
more
on
diverse.
this in
Okay.
some
Yeah,
ways.
Now I have to do
absolutely.
research because I haven't been to Al Cafe ever. Can you believe that?
Okay, so now I know, look, we should probably talk about, implied in what you're saying is everyone should work at the city.
Yeah.
But let's go back because we're here with you. And I think you skipped a part of your story that I just love. So
I know.
I got to draw this out. Tell us about growing up and what kind of job you used to do growing up.
So my grandfather started a garbage business back in 1977, and so all of us kids, my mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, we all worked for Silva Sanitation at the time.
In Las Cruces.
In no, it was in Mesquite, New Mexico.
Oh, Mesquite. Okay.
Yeah, so Mesquite is a small town in between El Paso and Las Cruces, between La Mesa, La Union, all these little towns. And,
Kind of
and
pecans.
Oh, yeah.
by the
Yeah.
pecan
Cool.
orchards. And actually, the first truck they bought was because my oldest uncle, he bought a truck from Stallman Farms because he dropped out of college because he didn't want to go to college. And he bought the truck from Stallman Farms because they bought a new truck because they would pick up their own trash. And then after about a year, he's like, no, I'm going back to college.
Oh.
And he sold the truck to his dad, which was my grandfather, and that's where the business was started. And so all throughout my life, we've been a part of the refuse business. And even my uncle, Miguel Silva, he was the first recycling coordinator for the city of Las Cruces. So when they established recycling back in 91, they approved one position on how to recycle, and it was him. And so, so we've been in this business for a long time, and the mayor had no idea about this, and neither did the CAO.
Yeah.
It is
And
amazing.
so they literally came to me one day after they took office, and they were like, we think you could be a director, and they kind of talked about several departments, and they literally said, for some reason, we think you would be a great fit at solid waste. And I said, let me tell you a story.
And it was. They didn't know it was
Yeah,
in your
so-
blood, literally.
Yeah, so my dad graduated. I'm not graduated. My dad retired from being a driver. My uncle did. And then they sold the business after I had already moved. And so, yeah, it was great. And then from that opportunity, I've had these other opportunities, and just very humbling to be where I am today, just because of everything that the city's offered me.
It just goes back to like one of my favorite sayings is just that you always have to be open to what the universe brings you, because you didn't have an idea of your course in life.
Nope.
But when you kind of are open to these different opportunities, who knows where you can go.
Yep, absolutely.
So what a great story. I mean, literally from growing up, working on the trash trucks like down there to running the largest department in the state of New Mexico for right here in Albuquerque. It's just amazing. A true New Mexico awesome coincidence story that is the one and only Matt Whelan. Thank you so much for listening, Albuquerque. And remember, it takes all of us to fulfill the promise of the city that we call home. We want to see you again next time on One ABQ and You.
Be sure and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us at #OneABQandYou. If you'd like to share your own ABQ observations, experiences, or topic suggestions, reach out to us. You've been listening to One ABQ and You.